I have been a Typora user for years. The UI is genuinely beautiful. Most Markdown editors don't even come close. But Typora has no Vim keybindings, and Zettlr is buggy with limited UI customization options. So I decided to publish my own configuration, which will transform Neovim into your dream Markdown word processor, so you can focus on the writing experience and ditch the bloated GUI. The ambition of this video series is to share with you how I configure my Neovim to handle all kinds of text editing related tasks so that I get to use Neovim as my de facto editor when it comes to interacting with text. Today in this episode, we'll be taking a look at how to set up Neovim for the purpose of writing in Markdown files. To be more specific, we'll be looking at how to enable spellcheck, how to decorate the status line to display the word count of the file, how to configure word wrap and line break. And we do this all with the file type plugin pattern, which makes our Neovim config related code modular so we don't end up having a bloated init file. The official manual states that the ftplugin or the file type plugin is a global plugin that sets options and mappings locally for the buffer. My mental model is that the file type plugin pattern is like a hook or a template method that executes when the corresponding file type is loaded by the buffer. To set this up in Neovim, we just need to create a .lua file under this path, which is tilde/.config/neovim /after /ftplugin whatever file type you're trying to set it up with .lua. The path already tells us when this configuration will be executed, which is going to be after the buffer has loaded a markdown file. Notice that the official manual emphasized that it's a global plugin that sets options locally for the buffer. When we're setting options in the markdown.lua file, we need to set it on the option underscore local object. Otherwise, every time we use Neovim to edit a markdown file, some of Neovim's global settings would be overridden. So spellcheck comes for free with Vim or Neovim installation. To enable spellcheck, we set vim.option_local.spell to be true and set the option_local.spelllang, which stands for spelling language, to be English US in my case. And just to reiterate why we're doing this with the FT plugin pattern, I only want the spellcheck to be enabled when I'm writing documentations that are of the .md file type. And once we've set these two options, when editing a markdown file, the misspelled words would be underscored with red squiggly lines. Examining the spell section in the manual tells us that we can use the square bracket S to traverse through all the misspelled words and use the Z equal sign to pop up a list of suggestions for the misspelled word under the cursor. I've remapped my Z equal sign to open up spelling suggestions in Telescope in a floating manual, which we'll be covering in the next video. To view the current word count of the document, we can issue the one-time command Ctrl-G. However, when writing, I prefer to have that information always available. To achieve this, I decorated my status line like so, with this template string. And in this template string, F stands for file name, M indicates if this file has been modified, in which case we would need to save the file, and the equal sign pushes the rest of the template string to the end of the status line. Word count is a built-in Vim function, and from whose output we just need a words property to display how many words this document currently contains. And last but not least, to enable word wrap and line break, we just set the appropriate options Boolean values to be true. And now our editor is already able to handle the task of writing markdown format files very effectively. In the next video, we'll be discussing how to pipe the spelling suggestions into Telescope in a floating window, and how to use the ltex-ls LSP as a linter for English grammar check. And today's video is sponsored by vimsensei.com. I built an interactive curriculum for you to improve your Vim skills by completing objectives, following detailed instructions, working with a real Vim instance in a containerized environment. I've recently added some Neovim lessons, as well as some resource materials such as how to map your cap locks key to escape in different operating systems. So if you're interested in taking your Vim skills to the next level, check it out at vimsensei.com.